Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, Hut. Welcome back to the Baseball Hut. Hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. I saw this video by Wardy NYM, and I got this sort of thought to talk about Jeff McNeil and just what's going on here. I did a little short on him the other day that he did not play one game, not one inning in Washington against the Nationals. I know that the Mets are facing all these lefties, but Jeff's hitting 270 against a lefty. And for 3 days, they played Jose Iglesias, who had a really good series. He played great offensively, made some great plays in the field, brought a lot of energy to the club for 3 days. Let's talk a little about Jeff McNeil. I was going through some of the stuff with him before I started doing this video. After this season, he's got 2 more years on his contract that he signed with the Mets after the 2022 season, and then he has a team option. This year, Jeff is making $10.25 million. So it's $10 million. The next 2 years, he's making $15.750 million. $15 million. Close to $16 million over the next 2 years. So it's $30 million he's got coming to him. That's guaranteed. And over the last 2 years, after winning the batting title in 2022, which was the Major League batting title when he hit 326, his OPS was 140. He had 39 doubles. He just had a great season. But since that time, in 2023, he hit 270. This year, so far, he's hitting 227. Complete total collapse of a player that was a 2-time All-Star. He had MVP. I didn't realize this, just looking at it. He had MVP votes in 2022. 15th most votes in the National League, and he won the Silver Slugger Award too, I guess, for second base. But this is a guy that's been, prior to last season, he was a 300 hitter, and his averages has just completely collapsed. His OPS is under 100 the last 2 years. Last year was 98. Obviously, 100 OPS plus is considered average, so he's 2% less. 2 percentage points worse than the average major leaguer. And this year it's 82, so it's 18% worse than the average major leaguer offensively. And his WAR is negative 0.2. I think a lot of it's because of his defense. It's probably what's holding that from going any further down. But you look at some of his numbers just across the board over the last 2 years, it's pathetic. And unless he's hitting 300, unless Jeff is hitting 300, he's pretty much worthless as a player. His slug 2 years ago was 454, very respectable. His OPS was 836, very respectable. For the most part, some of his numbers are very good. But the last 2 years have been a disaster. Even worse than 2021. The last 2 years have been an unmitigated disaster for Jeff McNeil. And that I haven't even discussed his attitude, which we know he's very petulant. He does rub his teammates the wrong way. It seems more important that he goes, more important for him to get the win in terms of getting his at-bats in terms of getting his hits, than, say, getting a win for the Mets. This is how, I guess, he is perceived by some people. And the thing about his at-bats this year, they haven't been competitive. It doesn't feel like they've been competitive to me. I think a lot of people have felt that his competitiveness as a bat this year has not been good. And the Mets actually said that, Carlos Mendoza said that they're not happy with his at-bats. And there's been a lot of times he's not been able to get the ball out of the infield. It's like he's never swung a bat before. It's the most bizarre thing. I know last year they pointed out that the shift was taken out, but if you hit the ball everywhere, does it really matter if there's a shift? No. So that doesn't really wash in my opinion, in terms of that. So his offense has completely collapsed, and the fact that his attitude is so crappy, and he could be very combative with his teammates. We saw that when Francisco Lindor a couple of years ago, that they don't get along. He's very combative, and the fact of the matter is, if he's not hitting 300, the numbers just don't pan out in terms of an elite player. Now, when he's hitting over 300, I can go through some of the numbers. His numbers are elite. I mean, 329 in 2018, 852 OPS plus 138. 2019, 318 batting average, 384 on base percentage, 531 slugging percentage, 916 OPS. That's beyond elite. I mean, some of these numbers that he's had in the past have been unbelievable. But the last 2 years, pathetic. His OPS is 711. His OPS this year, 616. He's not driving the ball in. He's not hitting too many doubles. In 2022, he had 39 doubles. The last 2 seasons, obviously only a third season so far, he's had 35 doubles. So he hasn't even equated the double amount that he had 2 years ago. Just unreal. Embarrassingly bad. Embarrassingly bad. And now he's not playing every day. He didn't play one of the games on the weekend against the Diamondbacks. I said, and I've said this in quite a few videos, that Jeff is probably not going to be back next year. I think they'll probably eat the money either by the trading deadline or by the time we get to the offseason. He will not be a New York Met next year. I don't think that he is really the kind of guy that, if it's accountability here, I don't think he's going to be sticking around. And I would mention, this team has had him here since 2018. And aside from a couple of blips on the screen, the Mets as a team have not been very good. They were bad 2018, 2020, 21, 23. And obviously this year's been a mess. So I don't expect him to be around much longer. And I think the fact that he has not played much over the last few days, and obviously they're going to London. Everything's different than going to London. It's all about Major League Baseball and the celebration of baseball. It's not about the Mets for a couple of days. It's not about the Phillies for a couple of days. So that's why I'm not going to get too worked about the Mets enjoying their time there in Philly. I mean, in London. That's not a big deal. That's a big deal for the families and the players to be in London, be in another country. That's a big deal. So that's a separate kind of pocket of issues that has nothing to do with the regular season. It is sort of a break for the players, for both sides. So you put your best foot forward, and you put your game face on, and you smile a lot, and you enjoy yourselves. That's different. But I would expect that in the near future, Jeff McNeil will not be with the Mets. I think quite a bit of this core is going to get broken up. And hopefully, the Met front office and the ownership are smart enough to realize that this ain't working. We've seen this group together way too long, and it's time to move on and bring in new players, younger players, and better players. Also, we mentioned that Jeff is 32 years old. He's an older player. He got to the major leagues at an older age. He got to the major leagues at 26, so he was a little bit older because he dealt with a lot of injuries in the minor leagues, and it delayed him as a player. And Jeff is going to be 30. He's 32 years old now. And I don't know if the decline is because of the age. I'm actually very surprised just due to the fact that McNeil is not really a power hitter. He's not a power hitter. And he's supposed to spray the ball around. I thought he would age better than he has. I don't know if it's age or is an issue, but very disturbing that his numbers have been so bad. Well, you let me know what you think about this video, and hit that subscribe button so you know what's going on with the Mets and everything in between. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.